The Amish have been farming for generations, not just as a means of survival, but as a way of life. They don't chase modern conveniences. They don't rely on chemical fertilizers, pesticides, or genetically modified crops. Instead, they use age-old methods, passed down through countless seasons, refining their techniques with each harvest. To an outsider, their methods may seem slow, even outdated, but nothing could be further from the truth. The truth is, Amish farmers grow more food on less land than most modern farms. Their soil remains fertile year after year, while industrial farms see their land turn barren and lifeless. Their secret? Companion planting, soil restoration, and working with nature rather than against it. They don't just plant crops. They plant a system. Every plant serves a purpose. Some improve the soil, drawing in nutrients from deep underground. Others attract pollinators, ensuring a fruitful harvest. Some deter pests, acting as a natural barrier against insects and animals that threaten crops. Even flowers, often dismissed as decorative, have a role, luring in beneficial insects while keeping destructive ones at bay. It's a carefully balanced ecosystem, one that rewards patience and understanding. Let's take a walk through an Amish farm. Picture the fields stretching in every direction, rows upon rows of green, gold, and brown, a living patchwork of different plants, each thriving alongside its neighbor. The air is thick with the scent of earth and growth, the sound of bees humming lazily from flower to flower. The farmers move methodically, tending to their crops with practiced hands, using techniques that have stood the test of time. And as you look around, you realize something: the Amish don't struggle with their land. Their land thrives. Let's step deeper into their world and explore the 20 plants they use to double their harvests, ensuring their farms remain abundant, season after season. 1. Alfalfa, the soil healer. The Amish have one unshakable rule when it comes to farming. If you take care of the soil will take care of you. This is why alfalfa is a staple on every Amish farm. Alfalfa is what farmers call a nitrogen fixer, meaning it takes nitrogen from the air and stores it in the soil, feeding the crops that follow. But that's not all. Alfalfa's roots grow incredibly deep, reaching down to pull up minerals from below the surface. It enriches the soil naturally, without the need for synthetic fertilizers. In the fall, Amish farmers cut the alfalfa down and let it decompose. It returns to the earth, bringing nutrients with it. The next crop planted in that soil will thrive, drawing from the rich foundation left behind. 2. Clover, the living mulch. If you were to take a closer look at the ground between rows of crops, you'd likely find clover growing thick and green. This isn't by accident. Clover is what's known as a cover crop, a plant that grows alongside main crops to protect and enrich the soil. Clover is incredibly efficient at preventing weeds from taking over. Its thick, low-growing leaves form a natural barrier, blocking sunlight and making it nearly impossible for invasive plants to sprout. More than that, clover locks in moisture, ensuring the soil remains damp even during dry spells. And like alfalfa, it fixes nitrogen, feeding the ground and making it more fertile for future crops. As winter approaches, Amish farmers plow the clover under, allowing it to decompose and return to the soil. This cycle continues year after year, keeping the land rich and productive without ever needing artificial intervention. 3. Comfrey, the ultimate soil booster. Most farmers see comfrey as a nuisance, an overgrown weed that takes over gardens and fields. The Amish see it differently. To them, comfrey is one of the most valuable plants they can grow. The roots of comfrey extend deep underground, far deeper than most crops. This means it can reach minerals and nutrients buried far below the surface, drawing them upward where other plants can benefit. The leaves of comfrey, when cut and spread as mulch, break down quickly, releasing these nutrients back into the soil. The Amish regularly cut their comfrey plants, using them as a natural, self-renewing fertilizer. Instead of buying expensive, chemical-based soil amendments, they simply grow their own. 4. Marigolds, the natural pest repellent. Many farmers rely on pesticides to keep their crops safe from insects. The Amish have a different approach. Instead of spraying chemicals, they plant marigolds. Marigolds release a strong scent that repels a wide range of pests, from aphids to nematodes. The Amish plant them along the edges of their fields and between rows of crops, forming an invisible barrier that keeps harmful insects away. Beyond their ability to deter pests, marigolds also attract pollinators. Bees and butterflies are drawn to their bright flowers, increasing pollination rates for nearby crops. And when the growing season ends, the plants can be tilled into the soil, adding organic matter and improving fertility. 5. Borage, the pollinator's best friend. No harvest is possible without pollination. That's why the Amish grow borage, a plant known for attracting bees in large numbers. Borage flowers produce nectar that bees find irresistible. When Amish farmers grow borage alongside cucumbers, squash, and melons, they see a significant increase in fruit production. More bees mean more pollination, and more pollination means a better harvest. But borage isn't just a pollinator magnet. It also acts as a natural pest repellent, keeping tomato hornworms and cabbage worms at bay. The Amish use it as a companion plant, ensuring their vegetables remain healthy and pest-free. 6. Buckwheat, the weed suppressor. Weeds can choke a crop, stealing nutrients and water. Most modern farms fight weeds with herbicides, spraying chemicals that seep into the soil and contaminate the land. The Amish? They plant buckwheat instead. Buckwheat grows fast. In just a few weeks, it forms a dense mat that blocks out weeds, preventing them from taking root. When the Amish are ready to plant a new crop, they simply till the buckwheat under, turning it into organic matter that feeds the soil. This simple technique means they never need herbicides, keeping their land pure and their crops chemical-free. 7. Horseradish, the pest confuser. Potatoes are a staple in Amish farming, but they come with a problem: Colorado potato beetles. These insects can destroy an entire field of potatoes in a single season. To stop them, the Amish turn to horseradish. Horseradish emits a strong smell that confuses pests, making it harder for them to find their target crops. The Amish plant horseradish at the edges of their potato fields, creating a natural defense system that keeps their harvest safe. But that's not all. Horseradish also improves soil health and prevents fungal diseases. It's a plant with multiple benefits, making it a favorite among Amish farmers. 8. Nasturtiums, the decoy plant. The Amish understand a simple truth about farming. Sometimes, the best way to protect a crop isn't to keep pests away, but to give them something better to eat. That's where nasturtiums come in. Nasturtiums are what farmers call a trap crop. They attract aphids, flea beetles, and squash bugs, pests that would otherwise attack important vegetables like beans, cucumbers, and pumpkins. Instead of trying to fight these pests off, the Amish simply give them a sacrifice. They plant nasturtiums around the edges of their gardens and fields, drawing pests away from their main crops. When the nasturtiums become infested, the Amish pull them up and burn them, removing the problem before it spreads. No chemicals, no spraying, just smart, natural pest control. And as a bonus, nasturtiums also deter rodents, keeping rabbits and mice from nibbling on young seedlings. 9. Sunflowers, the giants of the field. Towering above the Amish fields, sunflowers serve more than one purpose. They provide shade for delicate crops that can't handle too much direct sunlight. Their massive stalks break up tough soil, making it easier for roots to spread and grow. But perhaps their most valuable trait? They attract pollinators like nothing else. Sunflowers bring in bees, butterflies, and other beneficial insects, boosting the yield of everything around them. Corn grows taller. Beans produce more pods. Tomatoes ripen faster. And when the season ends, the Amish harvest the seeds. Some are eaten, some are fed to livestock, and the rest are saved for next year. Nothing goes to waste. 10. Beans, the soil enrichers. Beans don't just provide food. They give back to the land. Like alfalfa and clover, beans fix nitrogen, replenishing the soil for future crops. This is why the Amish rotate beans into their fields every year. After a season of growing corn or wheat, they plant beans in the same soil. The beans restore nutrients, ensuring the next harvest will be just as strong. They also use pole beans as natural supports. Instead of building artificial trellises, they plant beans alongside corn stalks. The beans climb the stalks, using them as support, while the corn benefits from the extra nitrogen in the soil. It's a perfect partnership. 11. Chamomile, the plant doctor. To most people, chamomile is just a tea herb. But to the Amish, it's a plant doctor, one that can heal the soil and strengthen other plants. Chamomile releases nutrients that help sick or struggling plants recover. Amish farmers plant it next to wheat crops, and within weeks, those crops start to thrive again. It also repels flies and mosquitoes, keeping farm animals comfortable and free from bites. And in the evening, the Amish gather the delicate flowers, drying them for tea. A single plant, multiple uses. 12. Dill, the pest distractor. Dill is another plant that draws pests away from more vulnerable crops. It lures in caterpillars and aphids, preventing them from attacking nearby vegetables. At the same time, dill attracts ladybugs and parasitic wasps, natural predators that eat the pests before they spread. The Amish let dill grow freely among their gardens, knowing it acts as a natural line of defense. When it goes to seed, they collect the seeds for cooking and replanting. Nothing is wasted. 13. Garlic, the underground protector. Few things are as effective at repelling pests and diseases as garlic. The Amish plant garlic at the base of fruit trees and near vegetables, creating an invisible shield that keeps insects, fungi, and even rodents away. The strong scent of garlic confuses pests, making it harder for them to find their targets. It also prevents fungal infections, keeping plants healthy without the need for chemical treatments. And of course, garlic is a staple in Amish kitchens. It's harvested in late summer, braided into long strands, and stored for cooking, medicine, and seed saving. 14. Yarrow, the soil builder. Most people overlook yarrow, dismissing it as a wildflower. But the Amish know better. Yarrow is a nutrient accumulator, meaning it pulls minerals from deep underground and stores them in its leaves. When yarrow is cut and left to decompose, it releases these minerals back into the soil, enriching everything around it. The Amish often chop it up and mix it in a compost, speeding up decomposition and creating a fertilizer that's better than anything money can buy. Yarrow also attracts predatory insects, keeping harmful bugs under control naturally. 15. Mint, the rodent repeller. Mice and rats can devastate a farm, chewing through seeds, roots, and fresh produce. Instead of using poison, the Amish plant mint around their storage areas, barns, and gardens. Rodents hate the smell of mint and will avoid areas where it grows. The Amish also use mint as a natural flea and tick repellent, rubbing the leaves on their skin before working outdoors. The leaves are harvested, dried, and used in teas and herbal remedies, ensuring nothing goes to waste. 16. Peas, the early season soil booster. Peas are one of the first crops planted on an Amish farm. Not just because they grow fast, but because they prepare the soil for bigger crops. Like beans, peas fix nitrogen, ensuring that corn, squash, and other heavy-feeding plants have enough nutrients to thrive. When the peas are harvested, the Amish leave the roots in the ground, allowing them to break down and enrich the soil naturally. This simple practice makes a massive difference in yield. 17. Radishes, the root looseners. Soil that's too compacted can ruin a harvest. Instead of tilling the land, the Amish plant radishes. Radish roots dig deep into the soil, breaking up hard ground and making space for air and water. This allows other plants to grow deeper roots, leading to stronger, healthier crops. After harvesting the radishes, the Amish often leave some in the ground to decompose, further loosening the soil and adding organic matter. 18. Sage, the disease fighter. Sage isn't just for cooking. It's one of the best plants for preventing disease in crops. The Amish plant sage near beans, cabbage, and carrots to protect them from fungal infections and insects. It also improves flavor in nearby vegetables, making it a favorite companion plant in Amish gardens. 19. Tansy, the natural insecticide. Instead of spraying chemicals, the Amish plant tansy near their barns and vegetable patches. Tansy repels ants, flies, and mosquitoes, keeping both crops and livestock safe from infestation. Some Amish farmers also dry tansy and hang it inside their homes to keep insects out naturally. 20. Thyme, the weed suppressor. Thyme is a low-growing herb that spreads quickly, forming a thick mat that chokes out weeds. It also repels cabbage worms and beetles, protecting nearby plants. By planting thyme between vegetable rows, the Amish ensure their crops are protected, their soil stays moist, and weeds never get a chance to take over.